You are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything powered by the urban sports scene and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. Hosts are Wole, Mo, and Ray. The homie Glenn is out, but we're not alone. We have Emmy Award winning sports personality and Holder Sports own Lou Holder. What is going on, Lou?
Oh, this is a blessing, man. This is a blessing. This is gonna be fun. I can tell already. This is gonna be a fun conversation, man.
Oh yeah, lots of fun, man.
Sports looks like it. Sports looks like it's just gonna be the backdrop.
I know that's right. Hey Lou, man, you've been at camp. We're gonna talk about that. Before we get to all that, let's get into the particulars. Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Gold Errrything. Also tweet us at ABG_Errrything. Hit us up on IG at ABG_Errrything. I like our All Burgundy and Gold Errrything Facebook page. Make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Gold Errrything YouTube channel as well. Let's get right into it. Lou, folks are chatting about the rookie cornerback out of Mississippi State, Emmanuel Forbes, and you've been, like I said, you've been out there. Is the talk real? Is he like that type of dude at cornerback?
Oh yeah, I mean, when you're doing that every week in the SEC, you knew that they did their due diligence and this guy was going to be legit. And to go up against Terry McLaurin every day, it's just iron sharpening iron, man. So he's had some picks there. He knows how to play. You know, he's wiry. He's lanky. Again, when the last time I was on here, it was clear and evident what they were trying to do. That defense was top 10 in every category except turnovers. And what they're trying to do is get athletes and people that can turn that ball over. And Emmanuel Forbes is one of those guys that not only can turn that ball over, when he gets it, he's trying to go to the house. I think he had like 6 touchdowns of his career. I mean, that's field position is going to be everything for enemy offense with whoever quarterback going to be back there to work with the shortest field as possible. So again, the ball hawk, Emmanuel Forbes, I'm sold. I'm sold. I do think though that Quan Martin is going to have the bigger impact over the season. I think that Quan Martin is just going to have a bigger impact because he can play so many positions. And you know how it is, guys. Time week 7, 8, 9, 10, when people get hurt, this guy can play every position back there. And I would watch out for Quan Martin as well.
So go ahead, Mo. Go, Mo. You got it.
So Lou, to all this Emmanuel Forbes talk, is he a second coming of a previous rendition that we've seen in a Washington uniform out of Mississippi State in the second round around 2000 named Fred Smoot? Because it came in 5'11", 6 foot, about 170 or so pounds, light, don't have enough bricks in their pocket, but both had game-changing ability with their playmaking ability on defense.
Yeah. I mean, I do see similarities. The thing that Fred Smoot had when he came into the league that Emmanuel Forbes does not is Fred Smoot had Champ Bailey on the other side, right? So Champ was getting the best receiver on the other side, and it allowed Fred Smoot to come in and do that. There's no disrespect to anybody else on the other corners there, but there's no Champ Bailey. I mean, Champ Bailey is still the one that people say got away. If you pour true serum into a lot of Washington fans, they would have taken that Clinton Portis and all those yards and whatever they did and said, you know what, leave me with Champ Bailey, because shutdown corners are so hard to find. I know we had a great run with Clinton Portis, and he racked up yards, but there were a lot of people that said Champ Bailey was that one that, man, I would have stayed in the Champ Bailey business. So Fred Smoot had a chance to really have Champ do all that. Emmanuel Forbes, he doesn't have that luxury. Who knows what's going to happen in that secondary, but I do feel that he does have the same type of swagger. Well, if you say, and both of them, I can say this, guys, both of them, I can't understand a word that they saying. that Mississippi draw,
Is
that's
that
like, I
sick
can't
talk?
understand, or where I can't understand. And then Fred even said, yo, just come talk to me. I'll be his interpreter.
That is cool. Okay, Lou, you said we were going to have fun. We starting to, and I love this platform. But I loved it even more when it was called All Skins Everything and not All Burgundy and Gold. It's been a lot of chatter around the name and what could happen in the future. Is that a thing amongst the media members right there? We got petitions being circulated. Give us an inside scoop about what you think might happen and how we can continue to get this franchise back to where it was.
Yeah. I mean, there's always been talk. I just don't see it happening, not because of the desire to go back to a name. I mean, when corporations get involved and money gets involved and sponsorships gets involved, the league doesn't want to touch that, guys. Overall, the league doesn't want to touch that. And Josh Harris doesn't want to play around as a new owner. I just don't see the romanticism of bringing back the name and everything with a new owner seems so awesome. But when you actually get out of the way of tradition and everything like that, the name offended people. It offended people. And if it offends one person, that's enough, you know? So again, I don't know if I can digress a little bit, what I don't think is fair is that other teams that have names like that aren't challenged to change theirs either. I mean, if you're going to do that with the Washington Redskins, the Blackhawks, the Seminoles, the Chiefs, I mean, yeah, yeah, they won the Super Bowl and winning cures a lot of things. But when you have a whole stadium doing the tomahawk chop, isn't that offensive to somebody? That's ought to be offensive to somebody because that is kids, people are doing that. That's not, you know, it's kind of hypocritical for me. So if you're going to tell Washington that they got to get rid of their name just because their owner was bad and all that other stuff, well, I think you got to look at all sports and all teams that have names with after people of Indian heritage, Native American heritage. I think you just got to do a clean sweep. Everybody. I think the Cleveland Indians changed their name to the Guardians. I mean, you just can't have some getting punished and not others. So for that reason, I don't see them coming back to the Redskins. I think that's just something that we have to take our 3 Super Bowls and our Joe Jackson Gibbs and all of our memories and just hold on to them and know that whatever's going to happen is going to be under another name. I actually like the Washington football team. I thought it was kind of cool to not have a name. I thought it was kind of cool, but I think they're going to think long and hard on what they're going to do. And yeah, it's been talked about in the media, but I think when it gets talked about, it comes to an end when you talk about corporate dollars and you talk about corporate image. I just don't see Roger Goodell in the league wanting to play nice with going back to a name that was culturally insensitive to so many.
So to kind of shift the discussion back toward football, I know we've had a lot of talk about how this new ownership group is just a breath of fresh air. Coach Ron Rivera feeling like a weight's been lifted as well. For a person like yourself that's been covering the team for decades now, what does that shift look like in your eyes from your perspective? Does it feel like we're starting to return to like the glory days that we're speaking of now with that old name?
Well, as a journalist who wants to do their job, I like it now where you don't have to go to players and ask them about the owner and ask them about questions that they really can't answer. I mean, they really, really can't answer. Jonathan Allen said it the best. Whoever signs my paycheck, he said, my job is to beat double teams and get to the quarterback. I don't care who the owner is, right? So again, it's a business. It's a beautiful game, but it's a horrible business, he said. And that business is taking care of your family. And my business and people in the media is to ask questions about football. But the whole time I've been here, from the 21 years I have been here covering the team, from Steve Spurrier and Patrick Ramsey, that's when I got here, to now, it's all been about other stuff besides football, right? Dion and the Bruce Smith and what the owner did and how he just was playing, games and what have you, all the way up until now. That's all it's been, a side story. So personally, I like it where you can still kind of concentrate on football. I also feel that people in the building, I think that the organization feels a weight lifted. People are smiling and talking to people instead of being up on eggshells. I just think a new ownership, a day, July 20th, 2023, a day a lot of people thought that they would never see in their lifetime, kind of like lifted a cloud. And I think that from player to fan base to staff to just franchise overall, I just feel that there's a new beginning. There's just a new beginning, and you can concentrate on football.
Ole, want to add?
You want to say you're gonna go, Mo?
I was going to ask you if you wanted to add to that.
Oh yeah, for me, yeah, I was gonna add also in terms of like in terms of going back to camp, in terms of say, a lot of people talk about the quarterback play, and we can get to that later, but the offensive line has also been an issue. It was the issue last season. They got a lot of new pieces, but there's not that guy that this team has typically had in the past, like a Trent Williams, back in the day, Jim Deshae,
Brandon Scherf.
Brandon Scherf, or even a Samuel, back in the day, Chris Samuel. They don't have that like bookend left tackle. But what have you seen in camp to say in terms of the offensive line? Has it been something scary for, if you're a Washington Commanders fan, or something that you could say, you know what, this may be something that could surprise a lot of folks?
I think it's always scary. I think it's always scary. But the only thing that gives me pause, guys, is that Scott Turner is no longer running the offense.
Exactly.
Don't you say the boogeyman's name.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
I think Eric Bieniemy is going to mask a lot of the shortcomings that an offensive line that is limited at this time could have. I mean, they brought in Wiley from Kansas City. You still have Leno. You still have a lot of pieces. No, you don't have. And just saying the name Trent Williams just makes me so angry that he's no longer in Burgundy and gold, because he's still producing at a high level at another place. So, but I think that the way it's all cyclical, right? I told you before that they got this defense that's going to turn the ball over. Their job, when I saw Manuel Forbes, and then I saw Quan Martin, and then they got the guy from Arkansas, Strober, to play offensive line. And that wasn't the first couple picks. I said, well, here's what they're doing. They are telling Jack Del Rio, we're going to give you everything you can to make this an immediately impactful defense, turn the ball over, and give Eric Bieniemy and whoever quarterback and offensive line he has, give him the shortest field possible, and let's see what happens. That's what they did. So I think that with the weapons that they have, I mean, how many times were we looking in the games? You're going to have Carson Wentz, who can hardly move, go into a 7-step drop to get the ball out with that offensive line that couldn't protect, right? And you're like, no. So now I see quick hitters. I see, and Eric Bieniemy is not playing. He's told multiple people, get off the field. Get off the field. I mean, it's just so refreshing. I mean, we have all played sports and we have all had coaches yell at us, right? But for the longest time, I have not seen it in public. I have not seen it in public out at Commanders. I haven't seen it. But Eric Bieniemy is yelling from Terry and Jahan all the way down to rookies. He's yelling, and if you are not ready, get off the field, get out of the huddle. I mean, his thing is, we're going to make it quick. We're going to be efficient. And I think that's just going to be refreshing for the offensive line and all the other units. But it's always scary because one injury can upset the whole apple cart. And we don't have that strong presence in there. But maybe masking things with the tight ends and quick, hitters and whatever is going to make that offensive line not as exposed, because offensive linemen don't want to pass block. They want to run block. They want to run block and they want to make it quick. And so I think that we have a little bit of all of that going on in the Washington Commanders offense right now. That's what makes it
Lou.
exciting. Eric Bieniemy.
Lou, can I build on Wole's question? Is there one standout on the offensive line that is worthy of speaking of so far in camp?
Can't say that there's, I mean, Charles, you know, I mean, I can't say that there's one that sticks out to me. There could be others that other people see, but I just think as a unit, as a whole, I think that the unit as a whole, they're playing better, because I think that really they just started getting into pads mode. They just started to get into pads. So I think if you ask me this question next week, and if you definitely ask me this question after the joint practices with the Ravens, I'd be able to tell you now. But with that offensive line, there's no one that really stands out, because they're not really,
Okay.
you know, I think right now, and after this week and next week, I think I'd be able to anybody who has covered football would be able to answer that question better once you get beat, or once the pads are on and they start unleashing things, which has just happened.
So I guess we mentioned the offensive line. We have a lot of emphasis on the offensive line, because everybody's worried about the person that they're protecting behind the line of scrimmage. So yesterday, Ron said, don't sleep on Jacoby Brissett. Is he better? Is he looking better than Sam Howell, or is this a ploy to make sure that the competition element is still there?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because that's not the first time Ron has thrown that out there. You know, he threw it out there at the end of offseason when he said, we asked about Sam Howell, and he said Sam Howell will be QB1 until he's no longer QB1. I was like, ooh, okay. That's basically telling you that there is a competition. Now, I'm sure that Eric Bieniemy had some say in Jacoby Brissett being here, you know, when the whole hiring process came through. And honestly, guys, when Deshaun Watson came back last year in Cleveland, Jacoby Brissett was playing better than him. So I think that there is going to be moments. Now, Sam Howell has impressed me. He looks good. Sam Howell can make all the throws. He's got this quiet confidence about him. But then again, he's only played in one NFL game. Yes, it was against the Dallas Cowboys, and yes, it was at home and things of that nature, but it's only been one full game. So I just think that Jacoby Brissett, he knows how to play the position, and I think they're both picking up the playbook very well. And it's just going to be interesting. It's good to have in the royal family, it's good to have an heir and a spare. Because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. And I know that Eric Bieniemy, his whole existence is kind of in question. Can he do it without Andy Reid? Well, why wasn't he hired and everything like that? He is not going to be playing around. And if there is a limitation once we get to Arizona and moving forward, I wouldn't be surprised if you see, you know, changes, because Eric Bieniemy is on display as well.
You speak of Eric Bieniemy, and I'm like really interested. You know, I'm hearing all this talk about how he runs camp. I mean, it seems like it's an Eric Bieniemy camp, to be honest with you. Like, so what is it? Like, what is it about Eric Bieniemy in camp? Like, what does he bring different from what you've seen in years? Like, you've covered this team for many years, and you've been in training camps with this team, and everybody says it's just different. Like, why is it so different with Eric Bieniemy?
For one, I would say the two fat super rings on his fingers. How about we start?
Okay.
You know, we start with the pedigree that if you've done it at the highest level before, you command respect, right? It's not a last name of anybody. It's not a son of anybody. We've had that. We had that with the Turner. We had that with the Shanahan. We've had that. But this guy has played in the league. He has sat under one of the premier coaches in NFL history, in Andy Reid. And I think coming in there, once you get past the glitter of looking at those 2 Super Bowl rings on his finger, then you can get to the whole thing about, I think what's really happening out there is he's making people accountable. Accountability is big. And I think even multi-millionaires want to be held accountable because they didn't make the playoffs. And to see everybody in your division last year in the playoffs and not you, I think they're like, yo, whatever's going to get us over to the hump, I think that you just buy in. You just buy in from Ron Rivera all the way down. You know, it's not just the players, it's the coaching staff. You know, no one's really getting in Eric Bieniemy's way. He's the most vocal out there. And I just think people like it. It's a change of culture, being accountable, and he has the pedigree, and he has the hardware to back it up. My motto this year is let EB be free. Let him be free to do whatever he wants to do. He's earned it. And I think that is what people see. There's an excitement that, wow, this guy's been there at the highest level. And Eric Bieniemy, they trust. And I think that's what you see. And he's not going to let people get away with lackluster practices, because he told us in the offseason, every practice is important to him. Every rep is important to him. Not, you know, every month, every practice is important to him. And that is so refreshing.
So what's Coach Rivera's vibe then with it all? Like, you got a guy who seems like he's an alpha male in Eric Bieniemy, EB, like you just mentioned. He got 2 rings on the fingers, so that's what makes it different. What's his vibe? Does he feel a little intimidated, or is he like, you know what, I'm here for the ride?
Yeah, I don't think he has a choice but to buy in, because again, he you know, I'm switching sports a little bit, guys, but you don't get credit for getting rid of somebody that you brought in, right? And with Ernie Grunfeld, you don't get credit for bringing in Gilbert Arenas and then getting rid of Gilbert Arenas. You know, that's you don't get credit for that, right? So with Scott Turner, you know, Ron Rivera, you don't get credit for bringing him in and then being able to take him out, right? So at this point, his job is in jeopardy too, right? There's new ownership's coming in. Everybody's thinking that Eric Bieniemy should have been a head coach anywhere. So Eric Bieniemy has a lot of other connections besides Ron Rivera. Martin Mayhew, Jason Wright, he knew all those people. So there was a calculated move to get him. And I think that Ron Rivera is more of a steward because he's been through a lot. He's been through a lot. You can be mad at Ron Rivera for a lot of things, but the time frame that he took over until now, he did a pretty good job. He had to do a lot, and now he doesn't have to do that anymore. He doesn't have to be the marketing person and the quasi president. He doesn't have to be all that. He can be the overseer and be the head coach. And it just so happens that his offensive coordinator is loud and he's robust. And he's just, you all have that. And at the end of the day, though, it's Ron Rivera speaking to the media every day, guys. It's not Eric Bieniemy. Ron Rivera is the one that has the press conferences and talks. He's still the leader. He's still the leader. You know, they have certain days when the coordinator, even though he's an assistant head coach, there's certain days when Eric Bieniemy and Jack Del Rio talk, but Ron Rivera talks every day. So the structure is still there, that he's still running the team. He just doesn't, he just has the proper people in place to do what they're supposed to do. And a lot of people knew that Scott Turner was not that person last year. Not that person. So now there's no excuse now. There's no excuse. There's competency on the offense, the defense, and now the ownership cloud has been taken away. So this is a big year for Ron Rivera.
There is a difference. You do see a difference. Like recently, you had Ryan Clark and his team, the Pivot. They were at training camp. I think there's
Interview Terry.
Interview Terry. I forgot her name. I think Kay Adams from NFL. Yeah, from NFL Network. She was there today. Is it like now is Washington, is the Commanders like the place to be for the media? At first it wasn't like this. Is there an upbeat vibe for this team now since, the cloud of Daniel Snyder is gone? The energy just seems different, to be honest with you. Just from the out, not even for Commander fans. I'm just talking about the outside of like the Commander fans. The vibe is different from the media outside to people how they portray Washington now. Is it just different to you?
It is different, and let's be clear. The Washington football franchise has been historically one of the crown jewels of the NFL. 3 Super Bowls with a legendary coach. That whole division, the NFC East with 11 Lombardis in it, it is the best division historically in football. And the fact that this one team had so much, it was being investigated. You had, federal prosecutors investigating the owner, training staff, personnel. It was a mess. It was a mess. And a lot of people, from a league perspective, wanted Washington to be right. And now that Washington seems to come out of that, I think it's just it's a new energy. Everybody wants to see what's going on. Kevin Durant was out there also. There's always a celebrity sighting going to be, and it's going to be more. When Magic gets back from, I think he's on a cruise somewhere.
He's on a cruise.
When he gets back and he's in the spot, it's just going to be the pivot, and Kay Adams is just going to be the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening because, again, this is an event town as well. And to marry that with the Washington team, which it's a Washington Redskins, Commanders, football team, franchise town. It's going to be like that for a while. It's called that honeymoon period, guys. But sooner or later, this team is going to have to start winning some football games because with all those people that are coming in there, if they're coming to losing games, it's going to quickly turn to. So at some point, and soon, what they say in church, soon and very soon, that something's going to have to happen on that scoreboard because winning masks everything. Again, the only reason why the Kansas City Chiefs and their name is not being investigated because they win in football games, right? But at the end of the day, the Chiefs and the tomahawk chop should be no different than what was asked of Washington to get rid of. But winning, because let's be honest, when Joe Jackson Gibbs and Art Monk and Darryl Green, all them were winning football games, nobody was really beefing about the name. The name really only got the beef when the owners started messing around with everything, and then corporations said, you know what? Yeah, you need to change it.
Hey, Lou, I can just see the energy. This is like the second week in a row. And for me, the media energy is just 1,000% different. So I know it's translating and the fans feel it. Right now, I don't know how long this honeymoon period is going to last, but I'm encouraging you and all of us, let's enjoy it while it's here. Because once the games start, I'm going to say preseason for Sam Howell, like it's going to get real.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think that those joint practices against the Ravens is when it's going to get real. Because they got a lot to prove up there as well. So that's going to be interesting. I'm so glad that they're not on Hard Knocks. I'm so glad that there's not that circus going on. We can deal with the governor and the pivot and Kay Adams and Kevin Durant coming out there, just to take a peek and see what the energy's about. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you start putting your entertainment value on display, this team needs to concentrate on winning football games. They did not make the playoffs last year, and every other team in their division did. That's enough motivation to be like, yo, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have 5 guys go to the Pro Bowl and you don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You know what I mean? Will's in an empty house. The Commanders were in an empty house. Everybody was in the playoffs. They in the empty house.
That's good. I like that.
A lot of storylines this year, Wole. There's a lot of storylines.
A lot of storylines, man.
We know that first snap is going to dictate where it goes. You know what I mean? I think everything is on the up and up now because they got the head of the snake out of there. I think a lot of people were rejoicing when Snyder had to sell a team, and just looking forward to some newfound energy and keeping the trash in the past and moving forward. The football will be the football. The football will be the football. And listening to Terry McLaurin on that pivot interview, like it seems like everybody's reinvigorated. I'm not a fan, but I'm interested. So I think it's must-see TV in DC this year.
I think that's the comment right there. Not fans that are people who are not even fans of the team are interested, right? And I think that is you hit it on the head. That is why there's the excitement there, because people are interested that now that the owner is gone, people can concentrate on the talent on the field. And I think that there's an interest. I mean, I'm not a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm interested, right? I'm not a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'm interested. I'm not a fan of the New York Giants, but I'm interested, right? You're interested in everybody in your division that's not you, and then you're interested in geographically around you. I'm interested in the Ravens, right? But there was probably a time where people that are not fans of the Washington franchise, they just weren't interested either, because what are you interested in, right? To be a cliche or to be a butt of somebody's joke, but now it's just like, I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Emmanuel Forbes. Is he going to be rookie of the year, right? I'm interested to see what happens to Jahan Dotson in a second year when his first year was like that, right? I'm interested to see
Young coming back.
Right. I'm interested to see what happens if Payne, Allen, Sweat, and Young are all motoring on the same level. I'm interested. You know, if I'm on the outside looking in, I'm interested. If you look at the Pro Football Pluses and all these magazines and all these internet sites, there's a Washington Commander near or top of everybody's list of either wide receiver, defensive player, player to watch. Man, I'm so looking forward to seeing the maturation process of Cam Curl and Derek Forrest. I mean, there's just so many things that, you know, even if I wasn't covering, I'd be like, yo, that's going to be an interesting group now that they can just concentrate on football, because I do believe it weighs on the players that when all this other stuff is going on around them, that they can't concentrate on football. So I think Mo put it on the head. I think he's not a fan, but he's interested.
We gotta make shirts. We gotta make shirts to say I'm not a fan, but I'm interested.
Not a fan, but I'm interested.
That's cool.
I'm interested.
I'm not gonna take it that far yet, but I do want to see the community re-engaged. I want to say that. We remember when we had pizza fundraisers and it was all about, let's get these pizzas, raise this money so we can watch the Washington team. I ain't gonna say the R word no more. We're gonna watch them in the Super Bowl. PG County school students got free tickets to games. DC public school students got free tickets to games. They wanted the community involved, and that was the DMV's team. It was, and that's what we transitioned from. So hopefully we get that back. Even though I'm not a fan, but Mo, I'll say what you just said. I'm semi-interested.
Right. I'll say this. The most profound soundbite of the entire offseason for me is when I got to interview Darryl Green over at George Mason. You know, he does stuff with George Mason now, and Tony Skinn got hired as the basketball coach over there. And I talked to him and I asked him, I said, are you sick and tired of everything going on with the ownership group and everything like that? And his response to me, and listen to this, guys, because it goes, Ray, right to what you said. The frustrating part for him is that the impact that team had on the community, it was almost like poured out and it was just wasted. There's no impact. And for somebody who experienced the impact that team had in the communities, in the region, it was like no other. The impact that Washington Redskins team had, that Washington franchise had when it was humming, it was like no other. And he said it was like we poured it out and it's on the floor and it was just wasted. And that's what makes Darryl Green and Mark Mosley and Art Monk and Joe Theismann and Darryl Green and Doug Williams. That's what hurts them the most, is that last couple of years, there's been no impact. Stadium not sold out, other people coming in and yelling in your own, no impact. And I think that you hit it on the head, Ray, that the impact that now is potentially able to happen now, people re-engaging, politicians able to re-engage in this stadium debate on where it's going to be. Just different community leaders just wanting to get back now. I think the term that's being used out there with the media and everything is that Josh Harris woke up a sleeping giant.
I'm interested, Lou.
Yeah.
Did
you do that? Did you do that with your left hand up?
No, my right hand, man. I'm not a fan, bro. I
You
can't do the whole
you almost
left
got him,
hand.
Lou. You almost got him.
No, sir. It's my
That
right.
left hand would have went up. We are commanders.
No, sir. No, sir.
I didn't catch him slipping. I didn't catch him slipping.
That beat your feet with it, Wole.
Oh man, I was like, was that his left hand up or the right?
I hate that song.
Get him, Wole. That would have been the left hand. You had to screenshot that, Wole.
Oh man,
I hate that. I hate that song. I'm a Commanders. I'm a Redskin Commanders fan. I hate that song.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that need to change. You know, I think if you pour true serum into a lot of people, I think they're on the fence with Major Tutty. I think there's the dance force of the command force. I just I bring back the band and just the classic, no Funky Four or whatever, just the classic band. I think there's a lot of people who want to see that come back. I saw some renderings of what Josh Harris is thinking about doing in that stadium and putting big LED scoreboards at the top and removing some suite level stuff. So, that fan experience needs to be better. I think, there's not a lot that he can do when you get the team on July 20th and the season starts on September. But I think that there's the goodwill. And I think that the indelible mark that a lot of media members and everybody is seeing is an owner actually having public displays of affection with the fans, high-fiving them and everything like that. I never saw that. Never saw that with the other. He had a team of people around. He had a team of people around him, and you could never get close to. They were doing stuff, right? The whole breast cancer awareness thing that started with Tanya Snyder, and then the league took into it. Now it's called the Crucial Catch, but Tanya Snyder was one of the people that was really instrumental in getting that breast cancer awareness thing going in the NFL. So they did do some things in the community, but never shaking hands and clapping and high-fiving people like Josh Harris did on July 20th, and then multiple times at training camp. Man, that is something that's going to be interesting, So I think that he being from Chevy Chase, he being local, Mitch Rails being local, Mark Ein being local, and Magic Johnson having local interests in here, the Magic Johnson Theater and the Starbucks. I think that they're, it's not just talk. I think that they are very interested in making this team and apologizing to the fans as much as they can, but then actions speak louder than words. And then we're going to see that.
Yeah, for me, it's all about Magic. I don't care about other owners. It's about Magic. I won't even lie to you. I don't even. Josh Harris is cool. I mean, I don't know him. I don't know him. I'm Magic.
He bleeds purple and gold already.
Yeah, Magic's. I just want to meet Magic. I don't care about the rest. I don't really even. Josh Harris.
You gotta care about him though, because Magic's not going to be here all the time. His job is to shake hands, kiss babies, and get in the communities. But
I know, but Magic needs to be here all the time.
But Mark Ein. I mean, just look at the tennis tournament that's going on now. Now he brought in Coco Gauff and Francis Tiafoe and Kevin Durant's there, and I mean, he had the Castles with Venus, and so I mean, there's a sports person in that ownership group, and Mitchell Rails has some broadcasting experience. You gotta know and be interested. Wally, you got to be interested in the other owners too, man. You got to, because they're the ones you're going to want on your show too.
Okay, I'll like them. They ain't Magic, so it's all.
Hold on. You gotta be Burgundy and go Errrything. You can't just.
I love it. Yeah.
You gotta be Errrything, right?
I gotta be Errrything. You just can't be Magic. You gotta be Errrything. I gotta be Errrything. You right, Lou.
Get him, Lou.
You got me there. I can't even lie.
You know what I'm saying?
You got me right there. It gotta be everything. You're right.
This isn't all this isn't all burgundy. This isn't all burgundy and gold Magic. This is all burgundy and gold Earth.
Hey, it could be all skins. All skins are everything.
All skins everything.
We might change it back.
Right. Or hey, listen. There's somebody, I think that on I can't take credit for that. I think it was Al Roke or somebody that they call it the Washington Magic.
Hey.
Then they did the research and they did the research and they said, you know, there's multiple teams in sports that have names in different sports. You know, the Kings are in Sacramento and they're also in LA for hockey.
Hockey, yes.
Right? And there's
they try to
multiple
limit those though, don't they?
Huh?
That's what they try to limit those, don't they? That's why when they were naming the Commanders, I think the Warriors are out because they didn't want to compete with Golden State and things of that nature.
Orlando, we would do better than Orlando. We would do better than Orlando. Come on,
man.
Like,
hey,
especially if Magic's the owner.
Especially Magic's the owner.
I know y'all think that building on 495 is Disneyland, but they got the real Disney World down there in Orlando, man.
I'm talking about the team. You're right, though. I'm talking about it's still Orlando Magic. Anybody says Penny. We ain't worried about that.
But I just feel that Magic is gonna. There's a reason, and you know, I have to be, you know, solemn and very respectful with the fact that history was made with Magic being the first African-American owner in team history. And I think that to be on a show with you guys and to see people of color getting an opportunity to be excellent, not just in sports on the field, but in business, in industry, in podcasting, that's significant. And for somebody who's been around for a while, to see you guys assembled together and doing your thing, it makes me so proud. Makes me so proud. And to see Magic get up there in his opening remarks, I knew about the Jack Kent Cooke story. I knew about it with the Lakers and Jeannie Buss and everything, but I did not know that Abe Pollin was one of his mentors. I did not know that. I did not know that. So this Washington, D.C. thing, it was kind of like, it was supposed to happen. But to see a African-American man up there as a part owner of an NFL franchise and it being Washington, D.C., man, it just I have to be solemn for a second and say how amazing that is. And we laugh and joke and everything like that, but on a serious tip, I'm just so happy that that is part of the story of this franchise going forward, that they're going to have a black owner and an African-American owner. And it's just exciting to me to know that the front office with Martin Mayhew and Jason Wright, and I mean, there's just there's diversity all over the place now. Some probably was by because it had to happen, but it doesn't matter how they got there. The fact that your GM, your president, and an owner is all African-American, and you have an African-American female on the coaching staff. It's just, it's a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time. And once you get past all the, you know, thank you, Josh, and all this other stuff, man, when you think of the gravity of what has happened, I can see why you are excited, Wole, about Magic, because he has, from, you know, the HIV to everything now, he's been our standard of what could happen when you're given a second and a third and a fourth chance. You know, he owns teams in many leagues now, and his smile and his character got him in there, but his business savvy kept him there. You know, and I think that that is something that we're really going to be excited to see, that he is a businessman and he knows what he's doing. So I think that he is a crucial part of that ownership group. And yes, we should be excited. And I hope we see a lot of magic around here for that reason, that it is a pride and a joy that is almost unspeakable that is happening. And we expect it on the HBCU level. We expect it in certain arenas, but in that club, in that very, very exclusive club called NFL ownership, to see Magic Johnson right up there on a boat with his family, all rocking Commanders gear, man, it's just something. And I just wanted to say that.
So definitely, it's magical. That's what I call it. It's magical. Hey, Lou, we appreciate you being on. This has been dope. Before we let you go, how can folks catch you on social media? How can they catch your content?
Yeah, just Holder Sports on Twitter. And then, my Holder Hangout. My Holder Hangout is where I'm putting up a lot of this stuff. I pride myself in getting that content that other people can't get, and interviews that other people can't get, and my access, and the people that have given me a platform for so long, you guys included. I put a lot of stuff up there on my Holder Hangout on YouTube. So that's where you can check me out.
Lou, appreciate you being on. This has been great. You know what I mean? You hyped me with Magic even more. I won't even lie to you. You just added a different element to it. But yeah, Lou, your stuff is great. Your content is great. Like I told you before, I don't like to be, I'm going to be redundant, but you're one of the guys who, I've watched growing up, doing your thing on local sports news here in the DMV. So, and just seeing you now and being able to talk to you, being able to have you on the show, it's been a blessing.
And I appreciate it. I don't take those comments lightly. People are looking at me and my job. Again, I'll just leave you with this. When I got into the business, Stuart Scott was one of my mentors, and James Brown as well, the late Brian Burwell, Kevin Frazier, David Aldridge, Jason Jackson, who's a play-by-play person for the Miami Heat. They were all my early mentors and still friends of mine in the business. And they told me to always give back. They told me to always give back. And it's all about passing the baton. My time clearly is not over impacting people, but they passed it to me. I'm passing it to you guys. You guys are going to pass it to somebody else to speak in schools and inspire, because there's going to be somebody, years from now that says, Mo, Ray, well, like, I used to watch you when I was growing up. They're going to say that to you too. And you want them to be able to say something good. You want them to say that you didn't embarrass them. You didn't embarrass the craft, and you didn't embarrass them as a community. And that's what I tried to do. And it just, it's thankful. I'm praising God that my time when you did see me was someone you could look up to. And I will always give back, and I will always be here for you guys. And whenever you all need me, because that's in my heart and in my spirit. And it should be like that with other people as well. You should never be too busy to give back to others.
Well, we appreciate you, Lou. We definitely do. And thank you. Thanks for everybody for listening to the show. We appreciate you all. You've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia for ages. You dig? Deuces. A Mega, lead us out, big homie.